Laser sights enhance and maintain your accuracy in a time of crisis, preventing tunnel vision and allowing quick target acquisition in awkward shooting positions. Crimson Trace, making laser sights standard equipment. Learn more at crimsontrace.com.
This is Tom Gresham's Gun Talk, now available on iTunes and other podcast clients, and on the free Gun Dealio smartphone app for iPhone and Android. Feel free to call Tom now at 1-TOM-TALK-GUN or 866-825-5486, or email Tom at guntalk.com. Now, once again, here's Tom.
All right, welcome back. Tom Gresham here. Yeah, we are having fun watching the mountain weather. We're up in the mountains in Idaho right here doing this remote from, well, one of my favorite places. I know that you're sweltering in heat in a lot of places, and we have been back home in Louisiana. Just a few minutes ago, we had a little snow, a little sleet going by, little ice pellets. It's crazy, but then it'll probably be hot again in a day or two. Hey, that's the mountains. One of the things that's interesting about firearms is the range of interest levels and the range of things that we do, whether it's sporting clays, sport shooting, recreational shooting, self-defense, gun rights, gun collecting. And one of the areas that a lot of us are into, and it doesn't take you very long to get interested in it, is gorgeous guns. I just call it GG, gorgeous guns. Beautiful guns. I love beautiful wood. I love beautiful guns. They're fascinating. They're pieces of history. Well, when you start poking around in that world, there's a pretty good chance at some point you're going to run into at least the work of our next guest. Doug Turnbull from Turnbull Restorations joins us right now. Hey, Doug, how are you?
I am really good, Tom.
Good. If you had flown that Super Cruiser, you could park it about 400 yards from where I'm sitting right now, my friend.
Well, it'll take about 24 hours, I think.
That's true. It's not exactly the speediest thing going there, but Cubs are not speedy. They really perform well on the low end of things, right?
Yeah, they do. They did fly it to the NRA convention. That was fun.
I saw that. That was great. You know, I have found there to be a high correlation. We're going to kind of go off topic here between. I think a lot of pilots are also gun people, and I'm not sure what that is exactly, but I sure have found that to be true.
Yeah, it really seems to be, and we really found that out, the real effect when we did our calendar this year. I was on the cover, and we put my Super Cruiser in front of the shop, and it was amazing how many people responded to that. Oh, you're a pilot. Oh, you fly a Super Cruiser. Wow. Well, I fly a such and such. It was really amazing the crossover.
All right. So what year is your airplane?
1946 PA-12 Super Cruiser with basically all the Alaskan-type mods that everybody would really want to put on it. 1946.
Is there any wonder that you like old guns and fixing them up?
Yeah, I guess they kind of go hand in hand. You know, old guns, old planes. Yeah.
How'd you get started doing this? How'd you get into this?
And the restoration side, I grew up in a gun shop. Mom and Dad started it in '59 from basically a little chicken coop, and it grew to being the largest specialty gun shop in the Northeast. And I enjoyed the gunsmithing side, watching the gunsmiths more than the retail side. It was a whole different world. Worked with dealers and collectors, and they would say, "Geez, you know, if you did this, it would make this gun needed this polish or needed polish this direction. Here's a high condition gun. Look at it." They made us better. You know, we were doing the work, and then they would tell us what we were doing wrong and how to improve on it. And then there was the detail. It's recut and engraving. It's just doing all the little detail stuff.
Well, it's all about the detail. I'm looking at your website, by the way. If people want to watch with us, it's turnbullrestoration.com, turnbullrestoration.com. It looks like you got at least 3 different things you guys do: restoration services, finished guns, and then custom reproductions. The restoration service, if somebody has an old Winchester, an old Marlin, something like that, is that something that you would work on?
Yeah, Yeah, it is. The restoration's kind of 1880s to 1940. A lot of Winchester lever guns, Colts, single actions, or the semi-autos, American side-by-sides, and then you kind of throw in a mixture of everything else in there.
Okay, so tell us about the finished guns you guys do.
On the finished side, it's pretty much taken brand new guns, and it's an awful lot of Winchester, model 1886 or 92s, 73s. On the Winchester side, the lever gun is you buy a brand new gun and you turn around and make it look like an old original. You put you do some polishing, you put the old original finishes on, get the wood color to look kind of reddish orange. So now it's the brand new gun, but it looks old. And what we've done with the 86s and 92s and stuff like that is you weld up that tank safety, and you've got a little block we put in the hammer, weld it up, make it act and feel like an original half-cock type gun, like an original gun. Okay,
I got like a 25. Go ahead.
Yeah. And by doing that, the guns will actually fire. Some of the modern guns, the 86s, 92s, with real hard primers, they can have misfires or soft primer hits.
Oh, okay. Well, I got a 35-year-old Marlin 1895. So. Could I send that in and have something done with that?
Yeah, we could take the balloon, take it apart, remove the balloon, touch up the polish as needed, and then we do the old color case hardening. You put it back together, and now it kind of looks like an early '95 Marlin.
Right.
It really changes the whole look and feel.
Well, you mentioned the color case hardening. I think that's one of the things that you are really known for because you do such a beautiful job with it. How I don't know the mystery, the science behind it. How do you do color case hardening?
Well, back in the old days, it was a bone charcoal process. It was a real slow process, and it's the only way to get the old original Winchester Colt type colors is the bone charcoal process. Then as modern manufacturing came around, they went to what they call cyanide, or it's a wet system. So basically it's basically potassium cyanide heated up to 1,400 degrees, so you got a liquid, and it speeded up the case hardening process because you put something in water or a liquid. I guess it's not water, but you put it in a liquid at 1,400 degrees, and it comes up to temperature in 10 minutes. You put polished parts in a box with bone charcoal, which is a dry process. Now it's a 2-hour process. So it just takes longer for that medium to transfer the heat to the part. So but that's the only way you can get the right colors is to do the bone charcoal process. There's people doing the cyanide process, like the old New England custom guns, the H&R toppers, stuff like that. Right. That was all the cyanide process, and it's gorgeous. It has its own look, but you can't duplicate one process with the other. You can't duplicate.
So which are you doing? You're doing the old
the bone charcoal. Yeah, the old stuff.
Okay, you're doing it the old way, man. You did the slow old way.
The old way. Yeah.
Holy cow. Well, and they're gorgeous. They're drop dead gorgeous. And I'm looking through your website, and you're doing, you got all sorts of stuff. You got 1911s, 1886s, and then you got like your own cartridge
the
rifle. Yeah, we got the Rugers. That's right. You got all the Ruger Vaqueros and all of that. And then you got this Doug Turnbull Signature 475. What the heck is this?
Well, we were messing around with the 5110 50 Express back in the earlier 2000s, and everybody wanted to shoot that big, wide knee plat, long bullet, and it was a pain to get them to feed through the gun.
Okay.
And I was working with Dave Scoville from Wolf Publishing. He was the editor back then, and he sent me a picture, a drawing that Winchester made the 46 WCF, and it was a true 46 caliber bullet. And so they had all the dimensions in that, and we were talking. I says, well, there's no good 46 caliber bullets, but there's a lot of 474, 475 bullets. And it's basically, it's the 50 Alaskan, but blown out. So we took a 50 Express, shortened the case 200 thousandths to 2.2, necked it down to the 474, and now we're pushing and because of large case capacity, you're able to keep the pressures down. We push a 400 grain bullet at 2,050 feet a second and real low 40,000 psi pressures, and it just works. And then I worked with Barnes because I needed a bullet design, and I liked the nose of the 275 grain pistol bullet, which was 6-pedal. And I said, well, how about if we make it a 4-pedal and then make it 400 grains? And it just works. You shoot something at 150 yards, and the bullet opens to 600 caliber. You shoot them down around 60 yards or closer, and it'll open up to 900 caliber. And I've only had one guy say he lost the pedal.
Wow.
And everything, we've shot, I've shot over just about 70 different animals from, whitetail and antelope to elk and brown bear and moose.
It's drop dead gorgeous. It's a gorgeous rifle. Doug, can you hold on for just a couple of minutes with it? I need to take a break here, but I got a question to ask you when you come back. Will that work for you?
Sure. Yep.
Okay, we'll do that. I've got a caller with a gunsmith question. I'm not one. Doug is. We're going to ask that, and you a chance to get involved here. Talk with Doug Turnbull from Turnbull Restoration. It is incredible what they do there. 866-TALK-GUN is our number. We'll be right back.
Why do hunters and shooters love the Ruger American Rifle? With right-handed and left-handed versions, all-weather, Magnum, Compact, Predator, Ranch, and Scope package options, there's a Ruger American for everyone. Lightweight with an adjustable trigger and minute of angle accuracy, Ruger American rifles pack in the features. Is the Ruger American the best rifle on the market? See for yourself at your local retailer or at Ruger.com. That's Ruger.com.
This is Jeff with Black Hills Ammunition. Our new rifle ammunition line, featuring Hornady's extreme low-drag bullet design, is a big step forward in long-distance performance. When you want the ability to shoot way out there with accuracy, flat trajectory, and minimal wind effect, our ELD ammunition is the right choice. The high ballistic coefficients and Black Hills Ammunition carry manufacture gives you the advantage. Black Hills Ammunition, the power of performance.
For 36 years, the U.S. Sportsmen's Alliance has been fighting to protect hunting, fishing, and trapping for sportsmen from coast to coast. Today, we are under constant attack from extremist animal rights groups who want to end your ability to hunt in the U.S. Join us to protect our sporting heritage and our way of life outdoors. To join or for more information on how you can help, go to ussportsman.org. That's ussportsman.org.
This is Marty Hayes, president of the Armed Citizens Legal Defense Network. 10 years ago, I created the network to help armed citizens with the legal aftermath of self-defense. There is strength in numbers, and we now have over 15,000 members in the network and over $1 million in our legal defense fund for defensive members after an act of self-defense. To join, visit our website at armedcitizensnetwork.org. That's armedcitizensnetwork.org.
All right, back with you. I'm just telling you, if you ever dreamed of having a fabulous, gorgeous gun. By the way, we're talking with Doug Turnbull from Turnbull Restorations. Doug, I noticed on your website, I got a picture of you and Tom Selleck as he's picking up one of his guns there. He's a guy that appreciates nice guns.
Yeah, he does. Tom's a great guy. We worked with him probably the last 15 to 20 years on different projects. He's a great guy. What you see, how he portrays on TV is how he is. He's just a true gentleman. And,
well, he is. And more than that, he's really a super knowledgeable gun guy, isn't he?
Yeah. It's interesting when you talk to him or anybody involved with his shows that he's done. He works at having everything, period proper and correct. Right. Looks, whether it's guns or saddles or chaps or anything, hats. It's a details. He's attention to detail, man.
I remember in one of those Jesse Stone shows that I enjoyed so much that he did. He had, of course, he carried a 1911, and he rolled out. I mean, he's doing these moves. I'm thinking, yeah, he picked those up at Gunsight, because then I looked closer, you could see it's a Gunsight logoed 1911. It's his pistol on the set.
Yeah.
Okay, that'll work.
But it was fun working with him building the last rifle. He had so much input into what he wanted and how he wanted it built.
That's cool. That is very good. Well, look, I've got Henry calling in right now from Burbank, California. He's got a question. I am not a gunsmith. Don't play one. I don't even pick up screwdrivers. People call 911 when I approach a toolbox. So, Henry, you're on the air right now, and you've got Doug Turnbull here, and I'm hoping he might be able to give you a tip or two with what you're working on. So what are you doing here, man?
I got inches of raw fiber optic from Bullseye, and I'm wondering about could a guy with some rented shop time learn how to make those fabulous little fiber optic mounts that I see on stuff like the Ruger SP101 with the front sight? It's a lot different, but I'm noticing when I'm looking at old like Colt single action target sights and other stuff, they're working on like a solid silhouette, and then I'm examining these things, and they're actually like little panes of windows. And how do I capture the light? And do you have any tips between like 1.5 millimeter, 2 millimeter? I think I'm working with 2 millimeter. And should I not oil the fiber optic? I'm wondering about that. That's my big thing. Do they like stain like wood?
Well, I guess first off, we don't deal with fiber optics, but what I do know is, it's fiber optics picks up the light from the end and kind of through the sides, but it's really off the end. And it's so bright because you're looking at the end of it. So if the end of it is kind of square to you, I think you're going to see a whole lot more light on it. In the sites that I've seen, they've kind of skeletonized a lot of it, and I think that's just to help to pick up an additional ambient light. But you see it really off the end of it, not through the side.
So, Henry, let me jump in. You want to know how to make the fixture that you would put the fiber optic into?
Nailed it.
Yeah, okay, so we're basically talking about how do you make the little holder for that. I don't know. I'm almost thinking, I'm going to throw this out here, Doug. At a certain point, there are some things you are best left done to people who do it by the thousands rather than you sitting there trying to do that, even though you got, this length of fiber optic material on your desk.
Well, that's fair enough. Any tips on oil, keeping oil off of it, or are they usually oil resistant enough?
Yeah, I have no idea. I'm sure it's oil resistant. I'm sure it's Teflon or some sort of modern plastic, and I doubt oil bothers it at all. But it's really out of my wheelhouse of what we do and deal with.
Henry, we appreciate that. Doug, another thing is there's in the studio they said, hey, you can always buy a 3D printer and just start playing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can build everything with them things.
Yeah, it's pretty astounding. So how is the interest? I mean, everybody wants the most modern, the coolest, the hottest thing going right now.
Yeah.
And you're turning out guns that look like they're 150 years old. What's the interest level out there?
Well, I think it's right now everybody wants something that's different. There through when Obama was around, everybody was buying guns and reloading equipment and ammo. And it was a whole different market. Now that people are thinking that their gun rates are pretty safe, now they're looking for stuff that's cool. Looking at what's old is new again. We do Ruger Mark IVs. We do the color case hardening and the burr on action. They're just different. People are looking for something that's cool and different, and not just, I got to have an AR-15. I got to have 10,000 rounds of 223 ammo. I've got to have this or that. Now it's like, I got to have something different to spend my money on.
Well, and also, we cannot ignore the factor of being able to pull a gun out of the case at the range and have people go, "What is that?" I mean, that's cool.
It's the wow factor. Yeah,
it is. It really is.
we get so much of, the old guns that we restore, and they'll get them back and like, oh my God, this is too good, too pretty to take out. They become safe queens. We hear so many stories of it becoming a safe queen, but they'll take it out and they'll take it to the gun show or gun shop or to the range, if nothing else, to show it off. And
there's no reason not to shoot them, is there? No,
there's not. None at all. We're, my 1886 that I built back, the 475 that I built, we're going to probably put that into our calendar this coming year, and we're going to have before and afters. My gun has been to Alaska 3 times. It's been to Africa twice. It went from Alaska on a moose hunt and took on almost a pound of water to 3 weeks later in Kansas chasing antelope, where it's 5% humidity. And
this looks like a museum piece. This thing's just gorgeous.
Yeah, it's got 3/4X wood checkering. It's engraved, gold inlaid. And most people would say, yeah, this is a safe queen, and it's like, yeah, this is a gun I built, and I'm out using it, and I'm shooting. It's in the snow and the rain and the mud, and it's being out there being used and enjoyed. And what's really cool about those things is, I've got a scratch in the burrow where I fall down when I'm packing out my sheep, and I can sit there in the deer blind and go, yep, I remember that scratch. I remember exactly where I did it and exactly what happened. And there's the stories and the memories as you're sitting there doing something else.
There it is. And it's just fun to be able to carry a gorgeous rifle around like that. Doug, I want to thank you so much for spending so much time with us. I want to tell people again, TurnbullRestoration.com. Doug Turnbull's work. You owe it to yourself to go look at it. And, Doug, we got to get together and shoot some guns and fly airplanes, man.
Yeah, get that 182 out.
Yeah, exactly. It's about 400 yards from where I sit right now. So I just walk down the hill and get in and fly. So you got to come out here. We'll do that. Thank you so much, my friend. You take care. All right, 866-TALK-GUN gets you in here. That is the magic number. If you would like to join us, looking for range reports, looking for your thoughts on, do you hunt with a pretty gun? Or would it really, really bother you? Well, people kind of differ on that. I'd like to know what you think.
Gun Talk encourages you to support the local sporting goods store, gun stores, ATV dealers, and other local businesses in your area who advertise on this station and Gun Talk. Only together can we protect our rights. You're listening to Washington Times opinion page regular contributor Tom Gresham.
All right, having fun talking about guns. 866-TALK-GUN will get you in there, or just dial Tom Talk Gun. I'm Tom Gresham. If you'd like to follow me on Twitter, I am at Gun Talk on Twitter. You also should sign up and like us, follow us on Facebook. Look for Gun Talk over there. You get all kind of news. We are on Instagram. We're always putting out cool stuff there as well. And, of course, our videos are available on YouTube, Amazon Fire, Roku. Oh, gosh, there's several bunch. I mean, they're everywhere. Basically, if you get videos, you can find the Gun Talk videos. Just look for Gun Talk everywhere. We have tons of stuff out there. Let's see. Line 1, Benny's with us out of Corpus Christi. Wants to talk about 243. Benny, what are you thinking?
Well, hey there, Tom. Great afternoon to you, good sir.
Thank you.
Well, what I'm thinking is pretty twisted, but we'll talk about guns instead. All right. So you're 243. I've got one sitting right in front of me. It's a little single shot with 22-inch barrel. Sweet. I mean, sweet. And right now we've got some Spitzer bullets, 100 grain, relatively high ballistic coefficient. But what's going to happen? I've got to get into the 6.5 Creedmoor because that's becoming the thing. And I'm wondering, with the 6mm out there now, and 6mm Creedmoor, why aren't people just going 26 Nosler instead?
It's a great question because the two are so very different. For the 26 Nosler, of course, is a very, very fast Magnum caliber 6.5. You get tons of velocity out of it. but you also get recoil. And with the 6.5 or Creedmoor and the 6mm Creedmoor, it is all about having low recoil so that you can shoot quickly. The PRC game out there, you have to, did I say PRC? PRS. You have to shoot quickly on targets in the competition game. So you're hitting targets, you're moving, so you have to have quick recovery. Right. So there's that. And basically what they're doing now is if you can go to a higher ballistic coefficient bullet, and if you can get the twist rate up, it somewhat obviates the need for extra velocity. We've always gone with extra velocity to try to get downrange performance because we either weren't willing or didn't think about it. We didn't have the bullets that had the high BC and could still perform. So now we can have lower recoil but still have bullets that have a little bit less drop and a whole bunch less wind drift. Now, let me ask you, the 243 you have, is that just a regular old 243 Winchester?
It is.
That's one of the great calibers of all time. That's a fabulous caliber.
It's a great little gun. It is a Rossi single shot. Mm-hmm. You know, nothing overpriced by any means, but accurate as the day is long. We've got a great piece of glass on there I've had for a decade or more, a little loophole. The galley, you know, if you want to go out and snap off some varmints or hunt a deer. Even a deer with a 100-grain bullet is just no problem out to about, you know, no more than about 300 yards.
But you know what's also nice? I'm thinking about that Rossi. You got a little single shot. It's very lightweight. And with the 243, it's not like shooting a 308 out of there. You have very little recoil. No. It's just easy to shoot. If you stuck a 308 in there or something bigger, then it's going to start to come back and buck you, and it's just not going to be as much fun to shoot.
Right, and even this has an 1.25 inch butt pad on it. So it's, you know, my 5.56 give me more grief than the 243 does. You know,
you're in the same place I am. Look, I got 243s, I got 6mm, and then you got the 6 Creedmoor comes out, and you go, well, that's the latest and the greatest. And you know, it's one of those trying to talk yourself into it. If you want to shoot at 600 yards and beyond, I think I would probably put it that way. Then I think I'd be looking at a 6 Creedmoor because of being able to use those long bullets, those great bullets they have. If you're a competition shooter, absolutely. And if you want to shoot at those distances, but for honestly out to 300 yards for hunting, a 243, a 6mm Remington, those are just fine. You know, and there are some others. I mean, we probably ought to at least mention, you know, there's the 243 Ackley Improved if you wanted to crank up your velocity. You're still not going to get a whole bunch more. You're going to pick, 100, maybe 150 feet per second more. It's really not that much. I would offer this. If you really wanted to crank up the production or the performance, rather, of your 243, what you do is rebarrel it to a faster twist rate and then reload with those more streamlined bullets, and that's going to get you more than cranking up the velocity.
Right. Well, it's currently at a 1 in 10 twist rate.
That's a standard twist rate for a 243.
Right. So going to, 1 in 9, I guess?
1 in 9, or even, honestly, even 1 in 8. But at that point, here's the problem. You have to be a hand loader to do that. You're not going to buy any factory loads. So we end up we dance around. We always end up in exactly the same place, which is if you're not a hand loader and you want to be able to use those long bullets, then you're going to want to get a 6 Creedmoor because you're going to be able to buy factory ammo with these great bullets. And I think that's going to be the real attraction there.
Right, and another thing is we've got these huge feral hogs, and you know the hog problem we've got in South Texas. Well, all over the South. Yes. And so we want to actually, you know, hit them with something hard enough that we can take them out, no matter what size.
Yep. And I will tell you, I mean, it doesn't sound like it. People would say, well, why would you shoot them with a 6mm? With the right bullets, you can get full penetration on a tough hog with a 6mm. It's just a case of using good controlled expansion bullets.
Right, and just putting it in the pocket, you know, either behind the ear or right behind the shoulder. Yep. And we've done a lot of good with that.
Hey, Benny, I got to run. I've enjoyed chatting with you. It is always fun to talk with somebody who's a rifle guy. Thank you, sir. I appreciate the call. If you'd like to join us here, it's 866-TALK-GUN. We're obviously talking about guns and ammo and calibers and bullets and powders and anything else if you want to add to it. Or if you think that we're just crazy gun people and we're gun nuts and you want to come in and tell me how nuts I am, I'll move you to the front of the line. I'll be quiet. I'll give you the floor. The number is 866-TALK-GUN.
It's the next generation target pistol, the SW22 Victory from Smith & Wesson. Stainless steel frame, interchangeable match barrel, thumb safety, fiber optic sights, and a Picatinny rail. The SW22 Victory is ready for anything, targets or small game. Also available with a threaded barrel or cryptic camo finish. And it's backed by the Smith & Wesson Lifetime Service Policy. Learn more about the SW22 Victory at smith-wesson.com.
Attacks happen every day. How will you react? See real people put into real-life criminal attack situations on First Person Defender. Discover what works and what doesn't. Kidnapping, ATM robbery, home invasion, and other attacks. Learn how to save your life and the lives of your family. Get the entire first season on DVD at shopguntalk.com. Get prepared. Shopguntalk.com.
Are you looking for a place to shoot? The National Shooting Sports Foundation has a great website called wheretoshoot.org. It's the largest database of shooting ranges on the internet. It's also a great resource for shooters where you can find video tips, printable targets, and a lot more. Find it online at wheretoshoot.org. And while you're there, download their free iPhone app. That's wheretoshoot.org.
Perhaps more than any other landscape, wetlands embody the life-giving abundance that nature has to offer. And perhaps more than any other organization, Ducks Unlimited is working to ensure that our continent's wetlands not only survive, but thrive for generations well beyond this one. The time is now to band together. The time is now to rescue our wetlands.
See this. Broward County Sheriff's Office denied paramedics entry to Parkland School. This came out about a week ago or so. The Broward County Sheriff's Office refused to allow paramedics from the area's fire department to enter the Parkland, Florida school where a shooter killed 17 on Valentine's Day, even as children lay wounded inside. 2 rescue task force teams, that's RTF teams, made up of 3 paramedics and 3 or 4 policemen were denied entry 6 times to rooms already found to be safe, according to an incident report. Let's cut to the chase here. You got somebody in there shooting kids. You know that some are shot. You know that some are sitting there, they're laying on the ground, they're bleeding. Time is everything. Time is life. If you can stop the bleeding, you can save a life. And the sheriff's office will not allow these teams to go in. And here's the thing about that. We're not talking about just paramedics running in and treating people and maybe they get shot. We're talking about trained teams that know how to work together. You get 3 paramedics and 3 police officers, and here's what happens. I've worked with these guys. They go in, the paramedics start working on somebody, and the cops basically form a perimeter, and they're looking for threats coming from any direction. And anybody who comes in, they know what to do with that. And you're saving lives, and the Broward County Sheriff's Office would not let them in. I am of very many different minds on this. First of all, if this sheriff gets reelected or ends up holding on to his job, it would be a travesty. We're talking about Broward County Sheriff Scott Israel needs to lose his job. Okay, here's another thing. If I'm on this rescue task force, and somebody tells me you can't go in there, I'd say, well, then you're either going to have to shoot me or knock me down because I'm going in. And we're going to go see if we can help these kids. We're going to go take care of the situation. That's what we're trained to do. And then I would just simply go. People go, oh, well, you can't disobey. Yeah, you can. There's a time at which you say, I don't care what you say. I don't care what your rules are. I don't care what. you're going to have to physically restrain me, or you're going to have to shoot me in the back as I'm going into the school to save these kids. I don't know why that didn't happen. I don't know what happened. But everything about the Parkland shooting stinks. From the FBI not taking action, from the police going out to this guy's house 3 dozen times, however many times it was, and not doing anything about it, to the reports ahead of time, to the action of the officers sitting out there and not going in. And now we find out not only did the police not go in, they prevented other people from going in. They prevented the rescue teams. They prevented the paramedics from going in. Everything about this stinks like 6-day-old fish. It's horrible. It's just horrible. All right, going to the phones. Line 3, Gary's with us out of Fresno, California. Gary, you're on Gun Talk. What's up?
Thank you, sir. Thanks for taking my call. On the actual gun laws, the tyranny of California, one individual's name is Jeffrey Scott Kirschman. He is a chief supplier of the potatoes used by Frito-Lay to make potatoes. He was hit with a dozen felony gun charges by a district attorney on May 17th, following a horrifying surprise. They confiscated several assault weapons and said he had silencers, $150,000 bail, and also ATF had given permits for his silencer.
Hold on a second. Was this the guy who went to the state saying, I'm trying to comply with the law, I'm basically trying to register his gun, and then they turned around and arrested him?
Correct. They went out to his house the next day after he photographed. You have to take 4 photographs of your firearms, their assault weapons, so-called assault weapons with bullet buttons. Mm-hmm. And when he turned those in, they came out and arrested him. When I talked to DOJ, they're getting a flood of phone calls. Everybody's afraid of registering their assault weapons now with the bullet button, which doesn't really make it an assault weapon. So it's tyranny here. It's really bad. I don't think they'll get 10%.
When you get a situation where they say you have to register it, but if you do, we're going to come out there and assault your house and put handcuffs on you and drag you off, you will get, you're right, close to zero compliance with the new law of registration. You know, look what happened in New York with the SAFE Act. Look what's happened in other places where they have something on the order of single-digit compliance, they think, in many of these cases. And that's what's going to happen. And what they're doing, and to put a fine point on it, Gary, they are taking law-abiding people who want to obey the law, they want to comply with the law, and they are forcing them to become lawbreakers. There's something inherently immoral about that.
They've already registered these guns prior.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, they've already been complying with the law. Exactly. Hey, Gary, look, I appreciate the call. I got to keep scooting here, man. Brian's in Huntsville, Alabama on 4. Hey, Brian, you're up on Gun Talk.
I learned something from you and all the people that call in every single week. I am grateful. And as far as your thing about do you hunt with a pretty gun, my only comment is I think any functional and well-maintained firearm is a pretty gun. Have a great weekend.
That's a good way to put it. I do like that. At the same time, some guns are prettier than others. Some are more attractive, and some are cosmetically challenged. No, they're butt ugly is what they are. But they still work, and you can still use them. And I've hunted with some of those. There's some really ugly stuff out there. I also have, I'm trying to think, I'm not really a gun collector guy, not a pretty gun guy. I have two rifles that are really pretty. One I've not hunted with, although I would. I just haven't had a chance. And the other is a .257 Roberts that I had made up many, many years ago with a really gorgeous Claro walnut stock. And, yeah, it's got a few dents in it because I've taken it out and I hunted with it. Here's the thing. I like having the good-looking gun, and I like using it because when I'm walking around with it, or even if I am just sitting there kind of looking at the rifle while I'm waiting for deer or something, it just makes me happy to sit there and look at it and go, this is a good-looking rifle. I love this thing. And like Doug Turnbull says, if you get a scratch on it or a dent, that's just memories. That's all it is. After all, isn't that what we're looking for when we go out there, when we go shooting? We're building memories. That's really what it's all about. Do you hunt with a really, really gorgeous gun? Let me know. 866-TALK-GUN. Oh, yeah, I love talking about guns and ballistics and all sorts of stuff. Gun geek things. Love it. Let's see. Line 3 Stan's with us out of Fresno, California. 6mm Remington. Where do you think here, Stan?
Yeah, Tom. How you doing today?
Great, thank you.
Good. Yeah, I've got a 6mm Remington, and I bought it as just a barreled action, and then I fitted it with a nice stock and put a Redfield scope on it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just anything I put in it, it's just dead on. It's just accurate gun. It's a BSA action and barrel, but it's just very accurate caliber.
How long you had that?
Well, I bought it in 1968 when I was in the service. I was visiting my parents. I was on leave from Alaska, and I was visiting my parents in a local gun shop in Fresno. Had it in the window, so I bought it and took it back to Alaska, got out of the service and brought it back to California, and I finally put it together. So I've been shooting it for the last 20 years or so.
Well, what do you think about the idea of
deal with it and ground squirrels?
Would you consider switching over to the new 6mm Creedmoor?
If I was a younger man, I might, but at this point in time in my life, I don't see any advantage to it. I know accuracy is the main thing, and this when you find a gun that's accurate and that fits you well, you need to stick with it, I think. And this 6mm Remington is very accurate. I mean, I can shoot at 200 yards off a bench rest, 3-shot group with quarterland over the top of them, so it's pretty accurate.
Perfect, exactly. All right, thanks, Stan. Appreciate the call. That reminds me of a story I got to tell you. We had 6mm in Remington 600s, which is cool. Also, I had a 788 Remington left-handed, which was a weird little, talk about your ugly guns, but it was super accurate. They had a guy that said, hey, would you mind if I borrowed that and let my kid use it on a hunt? I said, yeah, sure, fine. 6mm would be good for that. So I loaned it to him. Didn't come back. I asked him, what's the deal? Yeah, we'll get that to you. Didn't come back. Finally, I had to get real pointed. Hey, I need to get my rifle back. You aren't going to believe this. When I get it back, the stock is shorter. Wooden stock. He cut the stock down on the rifle that I loaned him for his son to use. I don't think he ever planned to bring it back. It was unbelievable. He's going, really? Now, okay, yeah, probably I chose poorly in terms of who I loaned it to. He was a guy who worked for me. What are you going to do? But that one was bizarre. That was one that I would never, ever have considered. Would you borrow a rifle from somebody and then cut the stock down? I mean, cut like 1.5 inches off the length of pull. Didn't have the wood that came off of it. It's just gone. It defies imagination. You're just going, I don't get that. I don't understand what's going on with that. Very bizarre. But I did like I don't have that rifle anymore. Actually, I'm trying to remember if I actually have any 6mm Remington rifles. I may not. I know I have a couple of 243s on the way. My preference, I do prefer the 6mm Remington, although it's pretty obsolete now. It's hard to get ammo for. But you can usually get 100, 150 feet per second more out of the 6mm Remington than you can a 243. Does it make a difference? Probably not. I just like to have the numbers there. But I see that there is loaded ammo with that Barnes TSX bullet, 85 grain, and that's a heck of a load. It performs, as they say in boxing, it outpunches its weight or something like that. Very cool stuff. Tell you what, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about gun rights, what's going on there. Also taking your calls on your favorite rifles, the things you're taking out to the range. And you are not going to believe, Facebook, Amazon, Google, and Twitter, the group that they have decided to let help them figure out which groups, which organizations are hate groups. It is a group that I think, personally, is a hate group on its own. And now they get to decide if your group, my group, NRA, or any other group is a hate group. It's quite unbelievable. And at the same time, surprisingly, but not surprising.